I just wanted to make this follow-up video for a couple of my PC gaming videos that I put up there. I recently have upgraded from the HP G6 to an HP G7, which I have right here. Biggest difference between the two models is this one has a bigger screen and it also has a keypad. And it has a few improved components. It's an AMD Radeon A10 quad-core processor, has Radeon graphics, and I want to make this video due to a couple of responses about how much heat pours off the computer when you're playing games. Granted, laptops really truly aren't designed to play games from what I've read, but it is capable of playing games. This model here does a little bit better than my G6 with the A4 dual-core processor, but the responses I've gotten is a lot of heat pours off this thing, and yes, it will. If you are playing games for quite a while, it will heat up quite a bit. Right now, I don't know if you can see it. Pardon the crappy quality of the camera. All I got is a cell phone camera. As you can see, it did reach 184 degrees Fahrenheit, 85 degrees Celsius. That is the max temp, and the first set of numbers is the current temp, running temp, and the middle one is the lowest temp it's ran at. This is the CPU IV or HW monitor. Does a good job of tracking the heat on your system. Well, what I do to help reduce the heat that pours off the computer, what I've done is I've lowered the graphics, and also in some games, I know others you cannot play in windowed mode. That's what I have done, and I have noticed that there has been some heat reduction playing it in windowed mode. But what else I do is got it sitting on a laptop cooler. The laptop cooler I am using here is the Targus laptop cooler, which actually is the only one I could find to fit this size of a laptop. It's a dual fan model. It does a fairly decent job of keeping things on the cool side. Well, whereas you normally will plug it into a USB port in order to run the fans, I occasionally, when I have access to outlet, which is kind of difficult right where I'm sitting right now, I use my old Samsung USB charger. It's got the USB port on the side here. This I'll use to run the cooler if I don't want it running off the computer's power, which of course causes more of an energy drain, which means it's going to draw more power, which means the unit itself will warm up some. But everything you can do, every little bit helps to keep the unit cool. Another thing I have found with this model of a laptop cooler is this is its basic shape. So there's a decent amount of room in there. The fans don't get obstructed, so they can draw in as much air as they need in order to blow it across the bottom of the computer to keep it cool. And whereas that will help, it's not going to significantly reduce the amount of heat that comes off your computer. What I have done is I get these cold packs for when I had my shoulder surgery, and I got a bunch of cold packs just like this to put on my shoulder when I was recouping. I'll tell you, rotator cuff surgery, you hear about it all the time, baseball, it hurts like a son of a bitch. Well, anyways, what I've done is I take, pardon the movement of the camera, I take it and I insert the cold pack into the laptop cooler towards the base of the cooler, where the bottom half of your computer sits. And I'll put it back on. And what it does seem to do is it helps to significantly increase the cooling capacity of the cooler, because the fans aren't that strong. I mean, they're strong enough, but you know, you don't want to sound like you're in a wind tunnel when you're using your laptop. But it did when I recently, while I was playing Crisis here, I didn't have the cool pack in, but I went, because I noticed it was getting warm, so I stuffed it back in there in order to cool the computer down. Well, while it was sitting idling here, I had it sitting on my chair, folded closed, because I was watching a little TV. It actually did, the computer, I don't know why, because I wasn't running the application, it was just, laptop was closed, it jumped up to 184 degrees. But as soon as I popped in the cool pack, it dropped like 40-some degrees. So it did make a significant difference. Also, another thing that may help to reduce the heat is by removing the battery from the battery compartment. Obviously, you have to run off of AC power, but that does help reduce the heat. Not significantly, not as much as that cool pack did, but that's what I noticed, and I was kind of shocked at how fast it dropped. But irregardless whether or not you have a gaming computer, or if you have a basic model like this, an HP, it cost me about $680. It will play the games, it will kick out the heat. And so will the expensive ones. They'll kick out the heat. They just might have a few more fans shoved in there and more components for playing games, because like on my A4, the CPU, or AMD's APU, that one didn't have the integrated graphics card like my A10 does here, but the A4, so the processor is basically processing the graphics as well as its other tasks that the laptop has to maintain. But I've had pretty good experiences with this laptop. It has gotten hot on me before. It cranked up once. I think the highest I've ever noticed it was 190 degrees. Again, I think I was playing Grand Theft Auto 4, but I wasn't using this cool pack idea that I came up with. But now that I do this, and I've altered, with some of my other games, altered their graphics settings, it has reduced the heat, so the processors and the components inside aren't working as hard. The one issue I have with the cold pack here is if you're in humid conditions, which I'm guessing most people are not in, sitting outside on a hot, sweltering summer day playing video games with a laptop cooking on their lap, you might want to be careful because of the issues with condensation. So if you're going to use these cold packs, slide them into this Targus laptop cooler, make sure you're in an area where the humidity is relatively stable and relatively low in order to reduce the condensation that will inevitably build up on the ice pack. Anything else? Nope, I guess that's about it. But I hope this helps. I did enjoy my A4, which is now my father's computer, and it did do a very good job. It did, actually, for the price, it did a pretty amazing job at playing some games. But with that said, I do enjoy my G7 A10. I love the screen. It's a lot wider than that G6. It's got 17 inches from corner to corner. It's pretty nice. I got this one. I went through HP's website, and it's performed for me flawlessly. I've had no issues with it, except I guess some HPs have issues with the internal microphone. Well, I ordered mine. It came straight from China, and sure enough, I had the same issue. The A6 or G6, I had no problems with the microphone. It worked just fine. But on this one, it didn't, and I got HP to kick me back a little of the money that I spent purchasing the laptop here. But anyways, I hope this helps. If it does, leave comments. If it doesn't, leave comments. But there you go. Thank you very much for your time. Goodbye.